Hi everyone, it is Kimber, the study abroad specialist here. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the benefits of study abroad. So if you are looking for some reasons to spend a semester or longer away, stay tuned. So for this week's video, I wanted to just dive a bit deeper into thinking about some of the important areas of study abroad. So particularly, what are some of the benefits? Because this is something that a lot of students definitely try to focus on if they're trying to make their mind up about whether or not they should study abroad. Again, if you are currently in college or you're heading to college, you probably heard a bit about study abroad, or you have, kind of maybe heard other people do it, but you may not understand what the benefits are. And again, it's very different for depending on what type of program you want to do or where you want to go or what you're trying to do with your life. But there are what I would say maybe just three basic benefits that pretty much everyone who has had a positive experience with study abroad would probably say that this factors into their life. Now, again, as I do further videos, I will talk about some of the downsides of study abroad because there definitely are some, and not every single person has a good experience. We will dive into that in a different video. But for today, I'm just talking about three benefits of study abroad. So as we're going through, I definitely want to mention that I am also factoring in some of my own experiences as well when talking about these benefits, because I feel like these are definitely three that have touched me personally. So as you may or may not know, I actually studied abroad multiple times. So I studied abroad in London during my junior year. So the fall semester of my junior year, I did an internship in London. And then I turned back around and did a semester spring of junior year in Florence, Italy. And then I went back after I finished my undergrad to London again, and did grad school over there and then worked over there and was there for about 6 years. So I have a lot of different kind of entry points into study abroad. And of course, I've been doing this for a very long time, consulting with students and advising students on study abroad. So, in thinking about the benefits, I would say that for number one, the very first benefit is the ability to have a new perspective and a new lens in terms of what you're going to be thinking about. So, one of the main benefits of thinking about having this new lens, or this new perspective on life, at least for me, was just being able to get to see that there was more outside of my life here in the US. Again, I think particularly as Americans, we can be super insular. It's probably like that in other countries as well and other cultures, but I know here in America, we're kind of like in our own little island per se, by ourselves. And so a lot of times we think that the world sees things the way that we do and they operate the way that we do. And in many ways, particularly as Americans, we are very influential because we do have a lot of influence on different cultures around the world. But different cultures and different countries operate differently. And I think that for me, one of the biggest benefits of studying abroad in two different cultures, because again, the UK is very different from Italy and very different from Europe. Obviously, we see that now, how they've kind of separated themselves, and they've kind of always been that way, even though they were part of the European Union for so long. But I think it's just about being able to sort of not only see how different cultures operate, but also embrace it as well. So for me, and I will cover this in a different video, but I think that assimilation is very important. And you need to try and kind of follow that phrase, when in Rome, right? So when in Rome or when in Florence, as I was when I was in my spring semester of my junior year, you need to try and acclimate to whatever the culture is. And I think that that is such a vital benefit for students. Even if you are just spending 3 weeks in a place, it can really just kind of change your perspective on things, because maybe like most people, you came into a situation or you went to a new country with kind of these preconceived notions of how it was going to be or what it was going to be like. You probably were fed a lot of different stereotypes. We all are to a certain extent. And so I definitely feel that being able to experience it kind of firsthand really just gives you an opportunity to access sort of this different perspective, this different lens. And you will find that once you return home, it actually sort of changes who you are in a way. It doesn't matter how long you spend doing study abroad, that it really sort of just changes your perspective, and you're able to actually share that with other people and say, like, well, like, actually, I found that it wasn't like this, or, people weren't as aggressive as I thought, or whatever it may be that you may have heard before, that is going to be a benefit to you, and that is something that you can carry along with you in the future as you go along telling your story about study abroad and how it fits into your life, that you were able to sort of open up this new way of thinking based on what you learned during your time away. So for number two on my list of benefits, I would say that the fact that you get to build a global network of people is definitely a benefit. Now, I know that there are some people, particularly here in the US and in other parts of the world, where when they hear things like globalism, it scares them. And I also have my own opinions on that. I think in some ways it's a good thing, and in some aspects of life it is not. But when it comes to actually networking with people and trying to find opportunities and trying to propel yourself forward in life, you will find that even though you're thinking of it on a global scale, that the world is actually a lot smaller than you would think. You've probably heard that before, that it's a small world. It actually is. I mean, the way that we are connected now in terms of the internet and social media, and just the way that people kind of move around in their lives now compared to even like 25 years ago, it really is a small world. So, number one, that's important because it just, again, broadens your opportunity for maybe, there's a job or something, or a potential opportunity to volunteer, or even start your own business in a place that you wouldn't have thought, because maybe you know someone who knows someone that can help you in your particular field. But it's also too important to think about it from your reputation as well, because as we talked about in previous videos, particularly when I was talking about my in the internship video, where I talked about how important it is to make sure that you are keeping your reputation clear, is that, people talk as well, and it doesn't mean that just because someone lives here in the US that they don't know someone, over in Dubai that could help you with something, and maybe, you're connecting with that other person, they just happen to know that same person. You'd be shocked, like, how small the world is in that way, how interconnected people are, even people that you wouldn't imagine that are well connected are actually well connected. And so you need to sort of consider that. And one of the things that study abroad allows you to do is you're able to build up your own network of people. I mean, for me, particularly when I was in my graduate courses, I met people from all over the world that are still great friends. So people from Greece, people from the Middle East, people from other parts of the US that I would have never even, probably met before in my life. Like, it's just such a great way to build up connections with people that you normally probably wouldn't run into, and that may have, sort of different outlets than you, different reaches around the world than you, that you may be able to tap into, not necessarily right now, but it may not even be career related. It may be for something completely unrelated. But again, you establish those connections, and it's important to keep those connections as well. So I would say that study abroad is a great way to do that. There are other ways to do that, such as if you get a chance to work abroad or volunteer abroad, but definitely with study abroad, it gives you something in common with people, and it is a solid network that you will have for years to come. So if you have not seen any of my videos, you may not know that probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, I re-released my really popular e-guide called Finding Your Perfect Study Abroad program. And so if you are interested in learning more about the three most popular types of study abroad programs, and maybe considering which one might work for you, go ahead and click into the description box below. It is a free e-guide. It is printable, it is shareable. You can use it as you would like. And then also too, there's a fun quiz at the end as well. So go ahead and click in the description box and find more about that. I'm sure that you're going to find a lot of use out of it if you are just getting started on your study abroad journey. And this is made specifically for students who are interested in learning more about the common types of study abroad programs and really want to find the best fit for them. I think that out of all the things that you could do, if you could find a program that works for you, it's going to be very beneficial. Again, study abroad is a huge investment, and not just of money, but of also time as well. And so you want to make it the best opportunity as possible. And so I really want to help students be able to do that. So click in the description box to find the free e-guide. So number three on the list is something that kind of relates to what I have talked about in previous videos as well. So this is really about being able to have a place for reflection, and how study abroad can help you really reflect on your relationship with yourself and also your bigger goals in life. And I think one of the ways that it does that is, again, you are sort of in this new space, you're removed from your kind of normal activities. And so you really have to sort of reinvent yourself for a short amount of time, in the sense of, you really have to sort of change your habits. Things are going to be different. You're going to have to learn new things. You may have to learn how to have a conversational, experience in a new language, something like that. And so this is really going to give you the chance to sort of really have a reflection point and step back. I think that throughout all of our lives, but particularly when we're in our sort of late teens and our 20s and our 30s, we sort of go through these different periods. So definitely, like, once you're coming out of high school and going into college, you kind of have that point where you're like, where am I going? What am I doing? And that's like one reflection point. And then as you're going along, maybe you're going from college to grad school. I know I definitely had that reflection point of like, what do I want to do next, and how do I really want to shape this? And then of course you make that big jump from being a student to kind of being a, kind of full grown adult, where you actually have to pay bills and, like, take responsibility for everything. And so there are all these kind of different touch points. But I think with study abroad, it gives you sort of a controlled environment to do that, because you are in the structure of this program where you kind of know what you're doing, in terms of studying, or maybe you're doing an internship abroad. But you also have this a lot of time to sort of reflect and sort of figure out, like, well, what is my next step going to be? Like, how do I want to be able to use what I've learned on the study abroad program to help me in the future? Is it going to be where I'm going to try and use it to propel myself into a job? Is it just a resume builder? Am I trying to use it to just get more course credit? Like, you get a chance to sort of think about those things, but within sort of a safer, more controlled environment where there's less consequences, as it would be where, maybe if you were trying to start a company or something and you just quit your job and you had to figure everything out right away. It's a totally different thing than, you're on the study abroad journey, and you get to sort of think about how it relates to what you want to do. Because again, as I've talked about, not everyone has the same goals when they're trying to study abroad. There are some people that just do it because they want to have a fun semester away, and that's really great. But there are some people who they really want to use it to, like myself, to maybe actually build themselves up in another country. So that is really important to them. That was really important for me to sort of have an established route in another country. That was something really important to me. There are some people who, they really want to be able to volunteer abroad, or to, just kind of, work abroad for a little while. It spans the gamut in what people are trying to accomplish. So I never want anyone to feel like, well, if I'm not just there for the academics, then I'm not doing it the right way. There's not one way or the other right way to study abroad. But I think that, you just kind of need to think about what your goals are so that you can push yourself towards the right direction. So in my experience, those have been sort of the three kind of broad major benefits, at least for me in my life. Now, there are so many others that I could dive into, but we only have so much time in this video. So what I have done is I have put together a blog post as well that you can check out in the description box, that just kind of elaborates a bit more on these points. And I would love to continue the discussion. So in the comment section below, like, I would love to hear, like, what are some of the benefits that you are potentially seeking in a study abroad program? I want to hear more from you about that. So feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to share this video with people that you know who are interested in study abroad. And hopefully you've also given us a thumbs up as well. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video next Friday.